You can feel it sometimes, can't you? Not always in a dramatic way, not like thunder splitting the sky, more like walking into a room full of people and still feeling strangely absent from yourself. You smile, you answer messages, you keep up with life, you do what you're supposed to do. But somewhere underneath all of it, there's a silence that doesn't feel peaceful. It feels hollow, like some deeper part of you has stopped speaking because, for too long, nobody was listening. Modern life has a strange talent for making emptiness look successful. Someone can have money in the account, a good image online, a busy schedule, a body that looks disciplined, a life that looks impressive from the outside, and still wake up with a heaviness they can't explain. And the confusing part is, nothing may be obviously wrong. That's what makes it harder. If there were a clear disaster, at least the pain would have a name. But when your life looks fine and your soul still feels tired, you start blaming yourself. You wonder why you're not more grateful, why you're not more motivated, why the things everyone is chasing don't seem to feed you anymore. Maybe the problem isn't that you're broken. Maybe the problem is that your inner world has been starving while your outer world has been performing. A person can live on applause and still be malnourished in the places that matter. Praise can touch the ego, but it can't reach the soul. Money can secure the body, but it can't tell the heart why it should keep beating with wonder. Fame can put your name in many mouths, but it can't make you feel at home inside yourself. And noise, constant, endless noise, can fill every empty second until you never have to hear the quiet question rising from within. Where did you go? At some point, without even noticing, life can become a stage. Not because you're fake, not because you're shallow, but because the world trains you early to be seen before it teaches you how to be. You learn which version of yourself gets approval. You learn which emotions are too much, which dreams sound ridiculous, which wounds make people uncomfortable, which parts of your personality need to be edited before you step outside. Slowly, almost politely, you begin trading authenticity for acceptance. A little here, a little there. Nothing dramatic at first, just small betrayals dressed up as maturity. You say yes when your body says no. You laugh when something hurts. You stay quiet when your chest is full of truth. You choose what looks impressive over what feels alive. And because everyone else seems to be doing the same thing, it starts to feel normal. Whole crowds of people walking around with polished faces and abandoned interiors. Everyone rushing somewhere. Everyone proving something. Everyone trying to look less lost than they feel. It's a strange kind of loneliness, the kind that happens not because nobody is near you, but because you are no longer near yourself. There's an old saying that the opposite of courage isn't always fear. Sometimes it's conformity. And honestly, that lands hard because conformity doesn't always look weak. Sometimes it looks responsible. Sometimes it looks successful. Sometimes it looks like being realistic. But if you keep merging with the crowd just to avoid the discomfort of your own path, something in you begins to dim. Not all at once. More like a candle trapped under a glass jar. The flame is still there, still trying, still alive in some quiet way, but the air is running out. Your soul doesn't die because you fail. It starts feeling dead when you abandon your own inner direction. When you walk a road that was never yours because it was clearer, safer, easier to explain. A true path rarely arrives with perfect instructions. If the road before you is too clean, too approved, too predictable, there's a good chance it belongs to someone else. Your way might be messier. It might confuse people. It might require you to disappoint expectations, step out of the crowd, and let go of the version of yourself that was built mainly to survive. But somewhere inside, you already know this. You can feel the difference between a life that impresses people and a life that actually carries your spirit. And once that difference becomes impossible to ignore, a strange restlessness begins. You may try to distract yourself from it. You may scroll, work harder, chase another goal, buy another thing, become obsessed with another self-improvement plan, another relationship, another identity. But the soul is patient in a very inconvenient way. It keeps knocking, It knocks through boredom, through anxiety, through numbness, through the feeling that you're surrounded by everything and still missing something essential, not to punish you, to call you back. Most people treat inner discomfort like a malfunction, something to silence, something to medicate with noise, pleasure, achievement, entertainment, attention, anything that keeps the deeper ache from rising too close to the surface. And of course, nobody wants to suffer. There's nothing noble about pretending pain feels good, but certain forms of suffering carry information. They aren't random. They're like smoke coming from a room you forgot existed. You can ignore the smoke for a while, spray perfume over it, open a window, act casual, but eventually you have to find the fire. A dead-feeling soul is often not dead at all. It's buried beneath unfinished grief, swallowed anger, rejected dreams, inherited beliefs, and all the parts of yourself you had to exile to remain acceptable. You may think peace will come from getting more of what the world rewards: more money, more admiration, more pleasure, more control. Yet there comes a point where those things stop working, not because they are evil, but because they were never meant to carry the weight of your meaning. A chair can hold your body. It can't hold your destiny. A bank account can reduce pressure. It can't replace purpose. 1,000 compliments can't heal the wound of self-abandonment. Think of a person living in a house where one room has been locked for years. At first, it's easy to ignore. Life happens in the kitchen, the hallway, the bedroom, the bright places guests can see. But behind that locked door, old things begin to gather. Dust, heat, strange sounds in the night. The more the person avoids the room, the more frightening it becomes. Eventually, the house no longer feels like home. Not because the house is wrong, but because part of it has been abandoned. Your psyche works in a similar way. Whatever you refuse to meet does not disappear. It waits. It grows symbolic teeth. It becomes a dragon in the basement of the heart. Yet even the dragon is not always your enemy. Often, it guards treasure. Your anger may guard your boundaries. Your sadness may guard your capacity to love deeply. Your envy may point toward a life you secretly desire, but never gave yourself permission to pursue. Your fear may reveal the doorway where courage is being asked to enter. The shadowed parts of you are not merely defects to be destroyed. Many of them are rejected energies waiting to be understood, integrated, and given a rightful place. When you stop projecting them onto others, when you stop blaming the world for every inner storm, you begin reclaiming pieces of yourself that were never meant to remain in darkness. Here's where the journey becomes serious, but also strangely beautiful, because the same pain that once felt like proof that something was wrong with you can become the very doorway into your own depth. Grief, if listened to, can soften the hard places. Loneliness, if not immediately escaped, can reveal where you are separated from your own inner life. Confusion, if carried with patience, can loosen the false certainty that kept you trapped. Every real psychological movement forward tends to begin with some kind of discomfort. The seed doesn't become a tree by staying sealed. It breaks, quietly, underground, in the dark. And from the outside, it may look like nothing is happening. But inside, life is reorganizing itself. There comes a moment when the outer world can no longer answer the questions being asked inside you. And it's not because the outer world is useless. Work matters. Relationships matter. Practical life matters. Your body, your responsibilities, your connection to the earth beneath your feet, all of that matters deeply. A person who floats only in abstract ideas loses touch with the soil of life. You still need to cook food, wash your clothes, feel sunlight on your skin, move your body, speak honestly, earn your way, clean your room, touch reality with both hands. Simple things bring the soul back into the body. Strange, isn't it? How washing dishes with full attention can sometimes feel more healing than another hour of thinking about your healing. But practical life alone is not enough. At some point, the inner world asks for its portion. Dreams may become intense. Memories may return. Certain emotions may rise without permission. You might find yourself drawn to silence, creativity, prayer, journaling, long walks, music that opens something in your chest. None of this is random. The inner world has its own language, and it rarely speaks in straight lines. It speaks through symbols, moods, images, patterns, sudden attractions, sudden repulsions, and sometimes through those strange, meaningful coincidences that make you pause and wonder why they appeared exactly when they did. Dreams, especially, are like letters slipped under the door of the conscious mind. They may seem strange because they come from a place older than logic. A dream doesn't always explain itself like a teacher at a chalkboard. Sometimes it arrives like a painting, sometimes like a riddle, sometimes like a forgotten song. To take your dreams seriously doesn't mean becoming superstitious. It simply means respecting the possibility that your deeper mind is trying to communicate. Creativity works in a similar way, not creativity for applause, branding, or recognition, but the quiet kind nobody has to see. Writing a page you never share, drawing badly but honestly, building something with your hands. Soul energy needs somewhere to go. When it's trapped, it becomes heavy. When it moves, it becomes life again. As you return inward, you begin meeting the hidden opposites within yourself. Strength and tenderness, light and shadow, reason and feeling, discipline and imagination. Wholeness is not about becoming perfect. Perfection is often just another mask. Wholeness is more honest. It allows the wounded part, the wise part, the angry part, the loving part, the afraid part, and the brave part to gather at the same table. Not every voice gets to rule, but every voice needs to be heard. And this is where a difficult truth emerges. No one can hand you your soul like a set of instructions. Teachers can point, books can open doors, pain can push you toward the threshold, but the path itself must be walked from within. There is only one way back to the soul, and it is your way. Not the way that looks best online, not the way that earns the loudest approval, not the way your family, culture, audience, or fear has chosen for you. Your way, the one hidden beneath all the noise. A person can spend years collecting ideas about healing while never sitting quietly enough to feel what is true. Another can speak endlessly about spirituality while refusing to apologize, create, grieve, forgive, leave, begin, or tell the truth. Inner work is not decoration for the personality. It changes how you live. It asks whether your ambitions come from joy or emptiness, whether your relationships are built on authenticity or performance, and whether your suffering is something you are healing from or something you have turned into an identity. There's a small parable that fits here. A traveler once searched the whole kingdom for a sacred stone said to contain the secret of life. He crossed deserts, climbed mountains, paid wise men, argued with priests, and slept beneath foreign stars. After many years, exhausted and nearly hopeless, he returned home and sat beside the old well behind his house. As he leaned down to drink, he saw something shining beneath the water. The stone had been there all along, not because the journey was pointless, but because the journey had finally made him humble enough to see what was near. In the same way, the self is not found by becoming someone else. It is uncovered when you stop running from the depth of who you already are. When you begin living from that deeper center, life doesn't suddenly become easy. Problems still come. People still misunderstand you. Money still matters. Bodies still get tired. The world still makes noise. But something changes in the way you stand inside it all. You become less like a leaf thrown around by every wind and more like a stone in the river. Not cold, not numb, just rooted. And slowly, your relationship with others changes too. When you stop abandoning yourself, you become less desperate for people to complete you. When you meet your own shadow, you become less eager to condemn it in others. Something softens, not weakness, but something wiser than hardness. You begin to understand that everyone is carrying unopened rooms within them. Everyone is haunted by some unlived truth, and that love may have less to do with fixing people than with standing beside them while they remember who they are.